touched the blood. Something ancient awakened out the well was sealed, but its whispers never stopped. Now the Crimson Spring is calling again, and this time it wants more Crimson Spring. When water turns to blood, something ancient awakens. Episode 1, The Arrival. Emily, Jack, Sarah, and Ryan arrive at the isolated Farmhouse in rural Virginia. The place was silent, eerily silent. Behind the house was a stone well covered in ivy. Ryan leaned over it and joked, "Bet this thing hasn't seen water in 100 years." Emily felt a shiver. That night, she heard dripping sounds, not water. When she looked outside, the well was glistening red under the moonlight. Episode 2, Blood in the Bucket. Jack woke up thirsty and went out to fetch water. He dropped the bucket into the well. A thick splash echoed back. When he pulled it up, the liquid wasn't water, it was dark, sticky, and red. "Guys," he yelled. The others rushed out. Emily touched the blood. It was warm. Suddenly, a high-pitched growl echoed from the woods. Episode 3, The Hunter's Journal. Sarah discovered an old wooden chest in the attic. Inside were journals from the 1800s. One entry read, "The well drinks the blood of the living. Do not draw from it. The Crimson Beast awakens." Emily flipped the page. There was a handprint in dried blood. "It's the Crimson Beast," Ryan whispered. Episode 4, The First Bite. That night, Jack disappeared. They found his flashlight near the well and blood trails leading into the trees. Sarah followed them. Something moved fast, too fast. Jack was hanging upside down from a tree, his neck gashed, eyes wide open. A creature howled from behind, the brush-red eyes glowing. Episode 5, Shadows in the Mirror. Emily started seeing things. In the Farmhouse mirrors, her reflection would smile. When she didn't, a voice whispered from the well every midnight, calling her name. "Emily, drink with us." The water pipes began running red, blood everywhere. Even the bathroom faucet wept. Episode 6, Ryan's Mistake. Ryan tried burning the journal. As the pages turned to ash, a gust of icy wind blew through the house. Blood splattered across the walls. A claw mark etched into his back from nowhere. The well rumbled that night. Sarah screamed, "It's awake." Episode 7, The Red Tree. Behind the house, the lone maple tree had turned completely red, bleeding sap like blood. Emily touched the bark. It pulsed. Suddenly, hundreds of crows flew out, attacking Sarah until Ryan dragged her back inside. "It's all alive," she screamed. Episode 8, Possession. Sarah stopped talking. She stared at the walls all day, murmuring, "The well must be fed." At night, she stood over Emily's bed with a knife. Ryan tackled her just in time. Her eyes were pitch black. "It's inside me now," she hissed. Episode 9, Buried Truths. They dug beneath the well. Bones, hundreds of them, animals and human. One skull had a sheriff's badge. The Crimson Beast wasn't just a story. It had been worshipped, fed, hidden. Now it was hungry again. Episode 10, Blood Rain. A storm hit, but the rain was red, thick, sticky, and it burned. The Farmhouse leaked from the roof. They covered their faces as the rain entered through every crack. Sarah laughed hysterically. "He's here." Episode 11, Trapped. The exits were gone. Every door opened to the same hallway. Windows showed only red fog. Ryan tried to jump out but landed back in the living room. The house was alive. Beast controlled everything now. Episode 12, The Crimson Beast. From the well it rose, 12 feet tall, muscles made of tree roots covered in veins, eyes burning like coals. It howled, shaking the walls. Emily and Ryan hid in the basement. "We end it tonight," Emily whispered, gripping a rusted axe. Episode 30, The Final Sacrifice. They found an altar below the house. Sarah was already there chanting. The beast behind her. Emily charged, slashing her down, then cutting her own hand. "Drink mine instead." The beast roared and collapsed, sinking back into the earth. Episode 14, Aftermath. The blood vanished. The rain stopped. The doors opened. Morning came. Emily and Ryan drove away, never looking back. The well was sealed, for now, but the red tree still pulsed. Episode 15, The Whisper Returns. Setting 3 months later, a new town, a seemingly peaceful life. But some stories don't end. It had been 3 months since the horror at the Farmhouse. Emily and Ryan had moved far away, to a quiet suburban town where no one had heard of the Crimson Spring. They never spoke of that place again. It was like a nightmare they had forced themselves to forget. But real stories never truly die. In the heart of this new town was a small public park. Children laughed, swings creaked, and the sky was painted with summer colors. At the center of the park stood an old stone fountain decorated. Ancient, brought here from a forgotten estate. 7-year-old Grace came to the park with her mother that day. While her mother sat on a bench scrolling through her phone, Grace wandered near the fountain. She peered into the water. It was still, silent, but something was moving far below. Then she heard it so faint, so soft. Grace, drink with us, ... You are chosen. Feed us. She looked around. Park was calm. No one had spoken, but the voice returned closer, deeper, as if rising from the water itself. The water shimmered and turned pink, then deeper red, thicker, darker, like blood. Grace didn't scream. She smiled. She dipped her little finger into the crimson liquid and sucked it. Her eyes slowly changed, darkened, black rings forming around her pupils. That peaceful little face wore an expression of ancient calm, something too old for a child. She whispered, "The Crimson Spring has awakened." Suddenly, a faint trickle of blood began to flow from the base of the fountain, spreading into the grass, slithering into the soil, crawling into the roots of trees. The nearby trees began to drip sap dark red like the well once did. Above, crows circled the sky, letting out low, ominous cries. And far away, deep in the forest where the old farmhouse still stood, the well began to tremble. Philosophical ending. Evil doesn't always die. It changes form. It waits in silence, in blood, in whispers only a child can hear. And when it returns, it doesn't knock. It calls your name.